Let me ask you something powerful. Have you ever let one moment of anger steal an entire day from you? One comment, one disrespect, one flash of emotion, and suddenly you're not yourself. You say things you regret. You replay it all night. You lose sleep, peace, control. But what if I told you it doesn't have to be that way? Here at Stoic Reflections, we don't teach suppression. We teach self-mastery. We don't escape emotion. We command it. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to never lose your peace again. No matter who disrespects you, no matter what the world throws at you, not through empty motivation, but through battle-tested ancient Stoic strategies that help you stay calm, composed, and in control when every part of you wants to explode. This is where emotional power begins. This is where modern men become unshakable. Welcome to Stoic Reflections. Let's begin. 1. Reframe emotional outbursts as habits you can unlearn. You weren't born angry. You weren't born snapping at people in traffic, slamming doors, or replaying arguments in your head for hours. Those reactions were learned, picked up through years of stress, pride, and a culture that tells men they need to be tough, loud, and dominant. But the truth is, real strength isn't loud, it's silent. The most powerful man in the room is the one who doesn't flinch, doesn't bark back, and doesn't let his peace be disturbed by small things. Anger isn't just an emotion, it's a habit, and like any habit, it can be broken. But first, you must recognize it for what it really is. A chain reaction that keeps going only because you keep feeding it. A guy cuts you off. Your boss talks down to you. Your partner says something sharp. And before your brain can catch up, your mouth fires. That's the cycle. And most men stay stuck in it for life, thinking that's just who I am. But Stoics saw it differently. They didn't see anger as personality. They saw it as weakness in disguise. Epictetus said, "Any person capable of anger is a slave to it." It's harsh, but it's true. When you react blindly, you hand your power to the thing that triggered you. You become predictable, easy to manipulate, emotionally exhausted. Now imagine this. You're standing in line at the DMV. You've been waiting an hour. Someone cuts in front of you like they don't see you. You feel it rising, tight chest, clenched jaw, the urge to lash out. That's your battlefield. You either fight the same war you always lose, or you pause, breathe, and ask, will getting angry make this better? You already know the answer. You've lived it. You've lashed out. And what did it bring? Stress, regret, distance from the man you're trying to become. Stoicism doesn't teach suppression. It teaches detachment. It teaches that emotions are like clouds. Let them pass. Let your mind drive, not your emotions. That's the discipline the Stoics mastered. Anyone can explode, but only a trained mind can stay composed when the world pushes your buttons. So the next time that fire rises, don't wear it. Walk away, not because you're weak, but because you've grown too strong to waste energy on what isn't worthy of you. 2. Control yourself. Instead of trying to control others, it's easy to explode, easy to raise your voice, throw a jab, storm out of the room. That's what most men do when they feel disrespected. They lash out to regain some sense of power. But that kind of power is fake. It burns hot, fades fast, and always leaves you feeling weaker than before. Real control doesn't come from dominating others. It comes from mastering yourself in the heat of the moment. Anger tricks you. It whispers lies. If I don't respond, I'm weak. If they push me, I have to push back. If I stay silent, I'm surrendering. But look back. How many times has getting angry actually solved anything? You yell, they yell louder. You prove your point, but you lose the relationship. You win the argument, but lie awake at night regretting your words. And in the end, you feel drained because you weren't in control. You were just reacting. Now imagine this. You're in a work meeting. Your manager criticizes your idea in front of everyone, unfairly, arrogantly. You feel the heat rise. Your ego wants to strike back, but instead you pause, you breathe, you say calmly, "Thanks for the feedback. I'll revisit it." Then you move on. Later, you handle it privately, with clarity, not emotion. That's control. That's power. That's Stoic masculinity. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Most men confuse silence with weakness, but ask yourself, when someone loses it in front of you, do you respect them more, or do they lose power in your eyes? Rage is loud. Respect is quiet. When you stay calm in the face of chaos, you become untouchable, and nothing unravels the other person faster than your calm presence. The Stoic path isn't about being passive. It's about choosing when to speak and making sure it's from intention, not emotion. Next time someone disrespects you, don't take the bait. Let them act small. You stay solid. Not because you're afraid to respond, but because you're too grounded to be pulled into their storm. That's real control. Not getting the last word, but keeping your dignity. 3. Build calm like a muscle. Through daily practice, you can't expect to be calm in chaos if you've never practiced calm in peace. That's the part most men miss. They wait until they're angry, overwhelmed, or disrespected. Then they try to control themselves. But emotional discipline doesn't show up on demand. It's not something you flip on in the heat of the moment. It's something you train in silence, in solitude, in small, unnoticed moments. Just like a man can't walk into the gym and lift 300 pounds without training, you can't expect to hold your center under pressure if you haven't trained your mind in calm. Self-mastery isn't a switch, it's a skill. Imagine this. You get home after a long day. Your kid spills juice on your laptop. Your instinct fires. You want to yell, but instead, something clicks. You've trained for this. You pause. You breathe. You say, "Let's clean it up." That moment, that's a representative. That's strength in action. And that rep will serve you when the storms get bigger. Stoicism isn't some monk on a mountain philosophy. It was made for soldiers, fathers, workers, leaders, men surrounded by chaos and noise. It teaches peace isn't found in isolation. It's forged in the middle of the storm, and it starts with the little things. Waking early to reflect, journaling before bed, choosing silence over sarcasm, noticing your breath when irritated. These aren't empty habits. They're your emotional workouts. The mistake most men make, they wait for fire to prove they can stay cool. But you don't rise to the occasion. You fall to the level of your training. That's why Marcus Aurelius journaled every day, not because he was weak, but because he wanted to grow stronger. Epictetus taught, discipline begins not in grand gestures, but in the daily control of thought. So don't wait for life to test you. Test yourself. Sit with discomfort. Notice your breath. Reflect before you sleep. No one is born a Stoic, but any man can become one if he's willing to train. You build calm the same way you build anything else, with reps, with time, with discipline, because the man who trains in stillness is the one who stays strong when the noise comes. 4. Let go of what doesn't serve you. You had your whole day planned. Wake up early, hit the gym, knock out your goals. Then boom, traffic hits. A meeting gets canceled. Your boss throws you extra work with zero notice. Now, frustration builds. That tightness in your chest, the heat in your throat. It's not from the event. It's from your resistance to it. You're not angry because things changed. You're angry because you expected them not to. But here's the truth. The world doesn't follow your schedule. Life doesn't ask for permission before it changes course. And the longer you cling to what should have been, the more you suffer. That's not weakness. That's attachment. And attachment, when left unchecked, becomes a trap. Because a man who needs everything to go right in order to stay calm is a man who will never know peace. Letting go isn't giving up. It's choosing not to hold what's already slipping through your fingers. The Stoics knew this better than anyone. They didn't waste energy on traffic, rude people, or changing plans. They saved that energy for what mattered: their character, their response, their mindset. So next time something throws off your day, pause and ask, is this in my control? If the answer is no, don't feed it with your attention. Let it pass like bad weather. Not denial, discipline. Most men think control means forcing things. But Stoics knew real power is adaptation. You don't control traffic. You don't control other people's mood. But you do control how you carry yourself through it. Now imagine this. You're in a parking lot. A stranger dents your car, shrugs, walks off. The fire rises. You want justice. You want to erupt. But instead, you pause. You ask, will yelling fix the dent? Will it make him care? Number. So you handle the paperwork. You breathe. You drive away with your dignity intact. That's the win. Not because you let him off easy, but because you didn't let him take anything more than metal. He doesn't get your peace, your health, your night. That's what it means to let go. Not with passivity, but with power under control. Start asking yourself, is this mine to hold? If it's not, drop it. Because the man who knows what to carry and what to release doesn't get angry at every storm. He walks through it, calm, clear, unshaken. 5. Turn conflict into a personal test of mastery. You can't avoid conflict. Not if you're living, working, building, or dealing with people. Someone will challenge you, misunderstand you, talk down to you, or test your limits. Most men see conflict as a threat to their pride. So they tense up, raise their voice, try to dominate. But in doing so, they miss the deeper truth. Conflict isn't a threat to your power. It's a mirror of it. It shows you where you still lose control, where your ego still takes the lead, where you're still emotionally reactive. And that's exactly why the Stoics didn't run from conflict. They treated it as a practice. Every insult, every misunderstanding, every heated moment, an opportunity to train the mind. Imagine this. You're at a hardware store. You've been waiting patiently in line. Then a guy cuts ahead of you, throws down a receipt, and demands service. People turn. Your chest tightens. You're ready to snap. But instead, you step back inside yourself. You ask, what's actually at risk here? My time, my ego, or my peace? And then you choose, not to roll over, but to rise above. That's not weakness. That's precise power. Most men think calm equals surrender. They think not reacting means they're being walked over. But here's the truth. Letting your emotions hijack you, that's giving your power away. The Stoic doesn't avoid the confrontation. He faces it with clarity, not chaos. He speaks when needed, but not with fire. He responds, not to win, but to stay in command of himself. Because the only thing worse than being disrespected is lowering yourself to match that disrespect. The more you treat each challenge as a test, not of who's right, but of who's in control, the more unshakable you become. Conflict becomes your gym. Petty arguments fade. Small people no longer shrink your world. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire. He faced betrayal, war, politics, yet still chose stillness. He didn't chase revenge. He pursued integrity, because every confrontation was a representative, a chance to sharpen discipline. So the next time someone pushes your buttons, try this. Don't snap back. Say nothing. Don't try to prove your point. Protect your energy. Don't let their chaos become yours. Become the calm they can't shake. Not to look good, not to be liked, but because you've trained to rise above what isn't worth your fall. You're not here to react to every insult. You're here to sharpen your edge. Respond with control. That's how you win. And every time you do, you don't just win the moment. You win yourself. 6. Stay present. Because your imagination makes you angry. It's not the moment that makes you angry. It's your mind, racing 10 steps ahead or spiraling 10 steps behind. You're not mad about what someone said. You're mad about what they meant, what might happen next, what it says about you, what you should have said back. That noise in your head, that's where most of your suffering comes from. Until you learn to stop living in the past or the future, you'll keep losing control in the only place it matters, now. Men don't talk about this, but it happens every day. You get cut off in traffic. It lasts 3 seconds, but you replay it for 30 minutes. You imagine yelling at the guy. You rehearse a confrontation. You carry it into your next meeting, your dinner table, your sleep. The moment is gone, but you're dragging it like a chain. That's how small things become heavy burdens, because you never drop them. Stoicism cuts through this mental clutter like a blade. It says, you only ever have now. In now, there is no insult, no imagined argument, no history to fix. There is only breath, action, choice. Marcus Aurelius trained his mind to snap back to presence. He reminded himself, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Not later. Now, the mistake, believing your thoughts are facts. But most of what you react to isn't even real. It's imagined. The Stoics understood that an untamed mind creates unnecessary pain. It builds enemies that don't exist. It rehearses drama that never happens. Here's a test. You're walking into a room with someone you dislike. You're already tense, already bracing for conflict. But the tension, it's not from what they said. It's from the story you created in your head. So stop. Come back. Be present. Maybe they'll disrespect you. Maybe they won't. Either way, you'll handle it better from presence than from prediction. That's why mindfulness isn't just spiritual fluff. It's tactical strength. You don't need to meditate for an hour. You just need to notice your breath, your posture, the room around you, your feet on the floor. Every time your mind wants to spin stories, bring it back. Because the present moment, that's where your calm lives. That's where your power lives. That's the only place you can make a clear decision. You don't control what already happened. You don't control what hasn't happened yet. But if you can own now, even for a few breaths, you're not just practicing Stoicism, you're living free. 7. Drop the weight of resentment before it ages. Your resentment isn't just emotional, it's physical. It poisons your mind and wears your body down. You've seen it in men before, the ones who always look tired, even when they're rested, who flinch at kindness because they're used to betrayal, who walk heavy, not from what they carry in their hands, but from what they carry in their hearts. That weight, it's not muscle, it's bitterness. And most men don't even realize they're carrying it. They think they've moved on just because they stopped talking about it. But silence isn't healing. And just because you buried something doesn't mean it isn't still shaping your life. That grudge from 5 years ago, it's still there. In how quickly you snap, in how much energy you waste on people who aren't even present. And that's why the Stoics didn't treat forgiveness as a virtue. They treated it as survival. Letting go isn't about excusing the past. It's about refusing to let it own you. Because every ounce of resentment you hold steals peace from the present. And no one, not even the person who hurt you, deserves that kind of power over your life. Epictetus said, "You may fetter my leg, but not even Zeus can get the better of my will." That's what forgiveness is. Not forgetting, not trusting again, but refusing to be chained inside. Think of a time someone wronged you, lied, betrayed, embarrassed you. You told yourself you'd never forget, and maybe you didn't. But every time you think of them, your stomach tightens, your energy drops, your mind darkens. That's not strength. That's self-inflicted suffering. You're reliving what they did, long after they've moved on. That's the trap. Believing holding on protects you when it actually weakens you. The Stoic doesn't grip anger like a sword. He releases it like fire, because he knows it burns the one who carries it most. Forgiveness isn't a favor to them. It's a gift to yourself. It's clearing space in your heart for something better. You're in a break room. Someone throws a slick comment. You could clap back, you could carry it home, or you smile, not because you're weak, but because you're done carrying trash that isn't yours. That's not passivity, that's power with precision. When you start dropping resentment, you'll feel it in your posture, in your clarity, in your sleep. You'll breathe deeper, think clearer, and finally feel free. Let it go, not for them, but because your future needs more room than your past deserves. 8. Pause before you react. It changes everything. It happens faster than you think. One sentence, one look, one careless tone, and you're already halfway to snapping. By the time you realize you're angry, your reaction has already taken over. That's how most men live, on autopilot, pushed by outside triggers, pulled by inattention, and in that tiny space between the spark and the fire, they give away their power. But what if that space, the one most men skip, was the very place you took your power back? This is where Stoicism begins, in the pause, the moment between what happens and what you do next. That's the real battlefield, not the insult, not the argument, not the tone. It's the breath before the blow-up, the choice before the chaos. Do you react like you always do, or respond like the man you're becoming? Most men don't even see that space. Their emotions outrun their awareness. But once you see it, you realize how much control you've been throwing away. Imagine this. Your teenage son talks back. Again, the tone, the attitude, it stings. You're about to snap, but something in you says, pause, not yet. You take a breath. You say, I'll respond in a minute. That one move, that's power, not fear, not retreat, restraint with purpose. You just interrupted a cycle that plays out in homes everywhere. And now, you're writing a new one. The lie most men believe is, if I don't react fast, I'll lose respect. But here's the truth. What you gain in those 2 seconds is clarity. You give your brain time to process, to choose, to aim. Marcus Aurelius didn't say, don't feel. He said, don't act unless it serves the greater good. That good? It starts with silence. We live in a world that worships fast reactions. Text back now. Defend yourself instantly. Don't let anyone get the last word. But Stoic strength doesn't come from speed. It comes from accuracy, from saying the right thing at the right time, in the right tone. And you can't do that when adrenaline is doing the talking. So when the pressure hits, try this. Stop, breathe, say, I don't need to react yet. Walk away if needed. Ask, what outcome do I actually want? Then, and only then, respond. From clarity, from calm, from intention. The Stoic man isn't cold. He's clear. He's not slow. He's steady. He doesn't suppress his emotions. He commands them. Because in that pause, he sees more. He sees the trap. He sees the opportunity. And he acts with a steady hand. So from now on, treat every moment of tension as a training ground. When your heart races, when your face heats up, when your fists want to clench, don't move, not yet. Let the moment settle. Then decide how to own it. Because the man who masters the pause doesn't just win the argument, he wins himself. And that is a victory worth choosing every single time. Now you know this truth. You are not a prisoner of your emotions. You are not bound to anger, to resentment, or to the need to react. And you are not the same man you were yesterday. The Stoics, men like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, didn't chase power in the world. They forged it in the mind. They taught us that calm isn't a gift. It's earned through discipline. That emotional control isn't repression. It's leadership of the self. In this video, we broke down what most men never learn. That anger is a habit, not your identity. That real power is staying calm when others lose control. That clarity is born in the pause, not the outburst. And that forgiveness isn't weakness, it's freedom. Every confrontation, every delay, every insult. It's not an attack on your masculinity. It's an invitation to rise, above noise, above reaction, above weakness. So here's your call. Don't just nod and move on. Practice, train, reflect. Because the man who masters himself, his thoughts, his breath, his energy, is the man who commands any room without raising his voice. If this message resonated with you, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below. What moment recently tested your calm, and how did you respond? Because at Stoic Reflections, we don't chase validation. We build inner strength, one choice, one pause, one breath at a time. This isn't motivation. This is transformation, and it begins now with you.